COVID-19 tips sponsored by Dex Soap. 1. Practice social distancing. 2. Wear your mask when leaving the house. 3. Wash your hands regularly for 20 seconds using our Dex Soap. 4. Cover your nose and mouth with a disposable tissue or flex elbow when you cough or sneeze. Choose Dex Soap for that extra cleanliness. Dex Soap is affordable and available nationwide.
Yes, good afternoon and welcome once again to this edition of the Wake Up Guyana show. And it's Wake Up, we want to wake you up today with all the news and the developments that has been happening across this beautiful land of ours. And how does it affect you? Apologize for my voice, which seems to be going a little. I guess when you're breaking in something, a new bike or a car or something, you're going to find some kinks in the system. So, welcome once again to Wake Up Guyana Show on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5. You could also get us here on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And you could get us right in Berbice also, 99.5 FM, or in Demerara and Essequibo, 99.1 FM. So I want to say good day to the beautiful people right across this land, and wherever you join us from, whether it's in the United States, the good United States of America, Canada, of course, Europe. We've been having many persons from Europe joining us across the Caribbean and our neighbors, Trinidad and Suriname, French Guyana, all across. Even in the hinterlands, we have a lot of people who've been joining us, even in the border areas, using the internet, and they're getting on to us here. So I want to say good day to you guys, and let us get right down to it. At 1:30, we're going to be joined, as promised. We would have been discussing issues with regards to the national insurance scheme, and we did promise that we're going to bring these folks. Yesterday I did had a conversation with the Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chan, and she has promised to be on the Wake Up Guyana show maybe as early as Friday. We're hoping to do that. But today, we have the Public Relations Officer of the National Insurance Scheme. We did promise that we're going to bring her back for you to ask her the questions. And I'm going to ask Raj, we have to get our phone so we could start that. Today, we're not going to talk a lot because we want to open those lines a little early. And we're going to tell you a little about what is going on the local scene as far as the news is concerned. We could tell you that looking at the Kaieteur News front page today, it's Mingo and his assistant arrested. We understand there's two assistants in addition to Claimant Mingo. You remember Claimant Mingo, the returning officer for Region 4, District 4, on March the 2nd for the elections. His name would have made a lot of news because he was accused of coming up with voting figures that did not exist, and he was accused of fraud. Well, he was arrested yesterday by police, and he was held for questioning last evening at the police headquarters, Gildarie. And so he is going to be questioned. How did he come up with those figures, and on what basis? Because you had to find the figures from some way, and his figures did not match up with what the opposition would have had in their hands. As you're aware by now, a couple of weeks back on August the 2nd, rather, it was President Irfan Ali as the presidential candidate for the People's Progressive Party Civic, who would have been sworn in. His party won the elections, and they would have been battling for the last 5 months, from since March the 2nd, stating that they won. And their figures, according to the statement of polls, would have said that they won. According to Claimant Mingo figures, he had some other figures, and he would have to answer to investigators. How did he get those figures? So Mingo, an assistant arrested on election forgery allegations. Big story there. We want to see what is going to happen there. And he's a senior official. He's a return officer, Region 4, the biggest region, or the district, voting district in Guyana. So he's going to have to answer for that. So it's August the 26th, 2020. With just 4 days to go before the end of August. The year is flying. It's soon. It's gonna be. We're gonna be into the last quarter of the year. September, October, November, December. As soon as September is over, we're gonna be dealing with the last quarter. So it is getting pretty quickly done in 2020, and we did lose a lot of months in this year. We could have done so much more. But let's start paying attention because, of course, COVID 19 has been affecting us. Let's go straight into the headlines again. Environmental issues playing Payara field plan. This is the third phase of the ExxonMobil development offshore Guyana. And Exxon is to meet with the EPA, this is the Environmental Protection Agency, the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, and the Energy Department today. This third phase here, Exxon has already gone and committed to build another floating platform. It has already given contracts and it's already believed that it's going to be okayed. But the government is saying, wait a minute. We need to correct some of the defects that we have seen in the entire deals that we would have done with regards to our past deals and the current one. And we want to tighten up on a couple of things. It's been felt by many specialists and critics in the oil department, in the oil sector, people who've been looking on with keen interest that there's an opportunity that exists for Guyana here for us to get a better deal. And instead of us begging for a million here, a million there, this is an opportunity. So the new government has started off on the right foot, according to observers, that they are looking to see whether we could squeeze a better deal from Exxon. Exxon is under pressure to ensure that, it's not a one-way street, that they benefit and we've been handed bills that we can't pay. $10 billion according to the two deals that we've seen. There's Liza 1 and 2, and then we have Payara. Payara is another set of money, and so we've been handed bills that we can't even begin to see those monies yet. Yet we've been, if you get gold and you have it in the backyard, or you have oil, you're supposed to get something, and we've been handed figures that we haven't even been able to ascertain whether it is real or not. So many things is wrong with this deal. So there's a good thing. Let us see what happens out of this meeting today. I presume that the government is going to lay down very clear that the people are not ready to continue in the same vein. So 1 in every 4 tested positive for COVID-19 in August. Let's get it real, folks. I saw minibuses passing this morning, and people are complaining, growing number of complaints, while we keeping social distancing and people staying home in the public service in order to protect the rest of the staffers. We have right that the back door has been open, and people are going into minibus, and minibus people are being filled to the capacity because some minibuses are owned by police officers and others. We gotta call it. We're not gonna paint it with a brush and say it's all nice and dandy. You gotta call it out. We got to be very strict with these things. So we got to call it. The police need to do a little better on the road to ensure that COVID-19 is not just going around and seeing what is happening there. The people in the minibus, the people in the speedboats and so on, there has to be some kind of control mechanism to restrict, to protect our people a little better. So this is really, really worrying. 1 in every 4 persons tested, according to the figures in August, has been tested positive for COVID-19, and this according to the analysis of Kaieteur News reporter looking at the figures as was released by authorities in Guyana. Government to review 14.6 million hydro deal signed by Winston Jordan on the last day of the recount. You will recall this story is very important. As a caretaker government, the opposition was not supposed to enter into any deal, big deal, sign on to anything. Well, they did sign over $3 billion for one set of projects, and these are the hydro projects for the hinterlands. Just on the last day of the recount, and the opposition said, no, we are going to look back at it, and they did promise to look back at some of these deals, and so here it is, staring at us. Both mishap leave 1 dead. Got to be very careful. I saw the story here that the boat was riding the rapids in the middle or late at night, late in the evening. So we got to be very careful in the waterways, folks. You got to careful, pay attention, be very alert if you're using the waterways. It's not easy out there. We know you got to have a living and things, life goes on, but you have to protect yourself. So as we get ready within a few moments, within 15 minutes or so, to get the public relations officer of the National Insurance Scheme, and this is Diane Baxter Lewis, and she's going to be on with us in a very, very short while to answer some of the burning questions that we would have had. Motorcyclist caught on camera beating cop granted bail. Well, he was wading into the police. I did see the video of it, and this man here, I couldn't believe that we would bypass our police like that. We did see the police probably in frustration through the forest punch, or at least is what appears to be. After they saw this man here riding up the one way in King Street, who does that in the middle of town with all the police? It means that you bypass the police. So he rode up the one way on King Street, and this is wrong by I think the Esso gas station or the Guyana gas station there. And the policeman saw him, they signal him to pull over in the car. And he left the bike there, walk into a fish shop or something that's located there. And when the police tried to put their hands on the bike, he came out, and this is when the fight started. It looks as if the police threw the force points, but he went after the police and really blows the police there. So this is totally unacceptable. There's no reason why a civilian should be beaten up on the cops. We know we get crazy with the cops because of some of them, a few bad eggs, but it does not allow you, there's no excuse in the world which will allow you to go after the lawmen like that or the law women. You got to have respect for them. There are ways and means in which we could raise complaints about them, and we should clean up the police force, but at the same time, it does not give you the excuse. I know many people feel otherwise. Avoid borrowing for projects from future oil sales. This is a former minister, Jeb De Silva, would have been warning, and he's overseas, and he's saying, we are going to be selling oil in the future. Don't borrow against it. Let's be very, very careful. Let us take one thing at a time. Let us be careful how we're spending our oil monies. So Exxon says it's also trained 24 technicians for the Guyana operations, continues to dodge key questions on local content. So we got to be very careful when the big oil companies come in and they say one thing, they say we've done so much for you, but you got to look at what they're not saying. And Exxon has not been so very straightforward on a number of things. They would have been asked, how much are you guys really paying? You could have 100 workers here. Here's the story here. You could have 100 workers, and 95 of them are locals, and you might have 5 foreign or overseas overseas workers, and they're being paid maybe 80% of their monies or salaries, while the rest of the percentage, the local Guyanese, are being paid pittance. So there's a lot of things to really look out for here. And now, of course, the big story here. Over $20 million in limbo in alleged Ponzi scheme. Principals remain grave flight risk. And, the authorities are looking at it. And this is a very stinking, it's a dirty story, as they would say. How does somebody come into the country? And this is what the story is saying. How does somebody come here, set up operations, operate for months on end, and the authorities doesn't know? The authorities in January, and this is again Security Council, would have warned about this scheme here, with this saying has a likeness to a Ponzi or pyramid scheme, and it was published in the newspaper. Yet people continued to put their monies into it, and guess what? Guess what the story that's coming out now? We have some pastors, prominent pastors on the East Coast, as well as pandits, who are recruiting people to put their money into the scheme. Guess what? The authorities would have pulled in the principals, and the principals being Yuri Garcia Dominguez. This is a Cuban man who married a Guyanese lady from the East Coast, and he would have gotten citizenship in Guyana. He only got the citizenship in June. And so that's a story that is also coming out here. Here is the story that is what is being told. The entire operations was never registered anyway in terms of for it to be regulated. The question would have to be raised: how were they able to establish bank accounts? He had bank accounts at several banks. But $20 million US dollars, which is the equivalent to over $4 billion Guyana dollars, never passed through the banking system. You heard me there. According to the authorities, when they check, and this is Bank of Guyana is saying, when they check the bank accounts of Accelerated Farm Inc., they never found any kind of money. So how did the money leave Guyana to be traded overseas? Well, the principals of the company is claiming that it went via something called Bitcoin, and so they put it there. So somebody collected the money here and then sent it overseas, and then it didn't pass through the system. So the authorities also want to know, how did you determine that the person who is investing in your scheme, that the money is coming from legit means? So there are many questions that is coming out there, and in the meantime, it has been more than 72 hours, and the authorities are not releasing Mr. Garcia Dominguez and his wife, who remain in custody. They're said to be the main principals in this accelerated fund, and many persons, over 17,000 persons, would have been affected. Many persons would have sold property, sold a canter, sold other thing, took out the bank account, the little savings that they had to put into this money. One man said in the beginning he never saw his capital back, but he would have received up to about $8,000. But he says that pastors of prominent churches of the East Coast would have been involved in this thing here and encouraging others to do it. So this case is continuing to rivet the Guyanese people, and we are going to continue to pay attention to it. The company says yesterday that it's unfortunate. It has issued a statement that it's unfortunate that his bank account was being closed. It is asking the authorities to open the bank account so they could bring back the money here. They also want to be released from custody, and they want the government and the authorities to stop describing this entire operation as a Ponzi one or a pyramid one. They said it's above board. All we need to do is time to regularize ourselves. This whole thing is legit. The authorities say, no, you don't have any assets here. We're not going to release you guys. And so that's where the story is. So maybe there could be some court actions in this entire affair to have a release of these folks. So in the meantime, while we await the NIS official, Diane Baxter Lewis, we are going to tell you that you should also continue to pay attention, continue to protect yourself on the road. The figures are not looking so well. We get in at least 30 new cases every single day. There's 1,000. I'm a little worried because I have tested and I have not. It's been more than a week, and I'm feeling fine and everything. But that means that there's a lot of persons walking out there who haven't been tested as yet. There are many persons who have been tested and have no way of knowing. That's because we're now building capacity of testing, and it is going to take a little while before we have a very clear picture of how bad the situation is. What we do know based on what we're seeing right now, over 1,000. And if you're looking at the Kaieteur newspaper today, 1 in every 4 persons tested in August alone have been tested positive. So we need to be very, very careful. And with regards to the accelerated story here, I'm being told by a source that the attorney at law, Glenn Hanneman, is making arrangement for the principal to be interviewed by the press. He says government cannot intervene in a civil matter. So this is the stance that the lawyer, Glenn Hanneman, for Accelerator is taking. He said this is a civil matter. The government should not have been interfering in it. If you want to do anything, it should be handled in a civil way. So let us see what is gonna come out of that. It is a situation that we following very closely. Do we have any idea whether Ms. Baxter is online as yet? So we're going to wait. In the meantime, let us see before we go to the lines and we await Ms. Baxter's presence. We should tell you that it is 622-622-222. We want to hear from you. We have 5 hampers here for you guys today. Yes, you heard right. We want 5 families. Do not send us and ask us for any help if you know you don't need it. We want to help 5 families badly in need, and in the Demerara area. We have no way of getting it out of the Demerara area. So if you know of any family or if you know somebody who badly need 5 hampers, we can make arrangements for it to be picked up at Kaieteur Radio here. We want to hear you. Text us. Let us hear your story. 6222222. Let us hear your story. How badly? Why is it that you need it? And let us see whether we could do it. It's coming compliments of some a very good sponsor who has been listening to the show day in day out. He's not so keen on having his name called, but I want to say a good day to you, sir. You know who you are, and thank you for keeping us up to date as to and keeping the good people of Guyana who have fallen in hard times because of COVID have lost their job, and you are paying attention to that, and so thank you very much for that. So in the meantime, 226-7453, we want to hear you. We want to hear from you. So let us hear you. Call us. Let us hear you. Tell us what you're thinking. It is more than 25 days. Is it 20? No, it's 24 days. 24 days since the president here, finale, would have been sworn in. How is he doing? Has he been meeting your expectations? What is it that the government needs to do? We also want to hear from you. What are some of the things that you would like to see happen in this beautiful country? We've started the talks as how we could improve situation down at the National Insurance Scheme. We've also talked about how people could get help. What are some of the things that could be done? We also talking about old age pension, and we're hoping to bring Dr. Vindhya Prasad, who's the Minister of Human Services, sometime or the other. What we could tell you, we spoke to Minister of Education, Priya Manik Chan, and she should be on air with us on as early as Friday, because we want to talk to her about education, the education system. We know that UG is going to start in the first semester for the coming school year at the University of Guyana is going to be done strictly online. That is because we're not out of the woods as yet, as I say. It is very worrisome time for all of our folks. So I want to say good day to you wherever you join us from, the good United States of America, of course, Canada. A good day to you guys. And Trinidad, I see some folks on from Trinidad here also. Do we have anybody on the line there? Yes, good day, caller, you on the air. Yes, good day, caller, you on the air. Yes, we would have, I think we lost that one. There's 6222222. We want to hear from you. Text us. And so we have a caller on line there. Caller, go ahead. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, top radio. Yeah, Gildarie?
Yes, sir. You're on the air. Go right ahead.
Man, me got something to tell you there, man.
Tell me.
Yeah, this man Mingu, right? You hear me?
Yes, we're listening to you.
Yeah, this man Mingu and all them ways he been a fool that voters thing. Let them catch them man and go lock them up, man, and the headache go done.
Well, you see there's due process that has to be served, whether we like it or not. You know, we might not agree with something Gildarie does, but there's due process. There's a process to be followed. And we know that the entire Guyana is very upset with this entire situation. What would have happened? 5 months of a country held in limbo. You know what you did to the people? So people are very angry.
Tell you right.
And this guy here tried everything to stay out of the public's eye. When they wanted to serve him, he hid. And so the police had to go till to his house and arrest him. I mean, these are things that look, and I know that people are very angry with it. But I hear you.
And then you see, me now, ordinary man, me do this thing, even don't get jail.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with me?
Yes, well, we know what happens when what happens to the law, the justice system in Guyana. People have been complaining forever. When you get money, you could get off on so many things. And in Guyana, if you have friends in high places, it is something. But we have to open our mouths. That's the message I've been sending. Let's start opening our mouths when we see things. In fact, I want to say something to you because you remind me there. Anybody see any madness happen on the road there? If you see a minibus that's parked, if you see a policeman doing thing or anything that's happening, 6222222, you need to send us the pictures of that. Let us hear. We need to name and shame now.
Yes. Gildarie and one next thing, we wish to thank Amir Fanali, man, for come the president, right?
You want to thank him?
Yes.
Why?
Yes, because you know what you struggle what the man passed through and all of you passed through, right? Yeah? And since the man with a water authority, since we know the man doing a good job. non-underhand business, but people have said the man been do underhand business. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. And here, me call from Mahika Creek, right?
Mahika Creek, yes.
Yes. And I began on road from number 10, right? Number 10 school.
Yes.
Yeah, from number 10 school to the outpost, right? The road not so big, but it need little maintenance. Little hole and so, you know.
So you're calling the authorities there to see whether they could look at something. Here, what you're going to do for me, because sometimes over the air here, not everybody listening. So there's an NDC or there's the regional authorities in there. Make sure that you go there and you said, look, I need you to pay attention to this road. I want you to put it in the budget. If you don't tell them, they're not going to know. So this is how one way, when they talk about government and you talk about interactive systems, one of the best ways that we could do it is ensure that we inform our NDCs, our RDCs, our municipalities, the town councils, and so on. And so that's one way of doing it. So thank you very much, dear, my brother.
Good, thanks very much, right? And all the best, right?
God bless you, dear. So right away, we're going to get into the hang of things today. Guess who we have on board here today? It's no other than our favorite people from our favorite lady there from, guess what, the National Insurance Scheme. And she's no other than the Public Relations Officer. I'm pretty good there, Diane. Diane Lewis Baxter. And guess what? You know, you're a very loved person. Everybody wants you. You know that, right?
They want NIS.
They want NIS. Well, we did promise the last time that you were here a couple, let's say days, because the days are flying by so very quickly now.
Quickly, yes.
And I could tell you, I can't believe that we almost to the last 4 months of the year. And we heading into the last quarter, and we are heading into a budget, a very short budget. Emergency budget, that is. We are going to see the convening in Parliament within the next couple of days. And so I'm going to hand it straight over to you. What we're going to do today, this is how we're going to do it. We have 6222222. We have the Facebook. We have the messengers there. What I want to, you have the messages under the Facebook page here. If you guys are there, I want you guys to send us ask the questions. And Ms. Baxter, people are asking, what is the situation with regards, I'm going to give you the floor for us, and then I'm going to allow the people to ask the questions here. So you could either text us, you could call us 226-7453. Ms. Baxter is going to stay with us as long as she can, and we're going to beg her. We could probably go as long as she tells us, and then we're going to take it from there. So I give the floor to you, and you could say anything. In the meantime, I'm going to ask you the questions as the people send them to us. Go right ahead, Ms. Baxter. Unmute your mic, please. Are you there? So in the meantime, while we try to make the connection, she's there with us, but we want to kindly ask Ms. Baxter. I'm living in New York, very far away from the consulate office. I sent my notarized life certificates, and they're being returned to me. Would I lose my NIS benefits, or should I have to wait until the airline's open to take mails? You saw that query there, Ms. Baxter? Okay, she's off. We lost her there, so we're going to try to get her back. So in the meantime, just bear with us until we could get her back. So if you're not joining us, this is the Wake Up Guyana show here on Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5, right here on Kaieteur Radio. You could also get us on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. So if you don't want to join the Facebook and you don't have a Facebook, you can go to YouTube, Kaieteur News live stream, and you can get us there. So in the meantime, we are going to wait the connection back to Miss Diane Baxter. She's back here. Miss Baxter, you there? You can hear us? Check your connect.
I got knocked off. I don't know what's happening.
Yes, you need to pay your telephone bill and your... I'm just kidding here. Okay, somebody's asking a question. I'm living in New York, very far away from the consulate office. I sent my notarized NIS life certificate, and it has been returned to me. Would I lose my NIS benefit, or should I have to wait until the airline's open to take mails? I think you did answer this sometime back, but let's go again.
Yes. Okay. What has happened? NIS is the only um like certificates that we accept and that are completed by the notary public would be originals. However, what we've been asking persons to do is to make contact with the Guyana consulate. So the Guyana consulate is facilitating it. They do FaceTime with the person and they're actually scanning the life certificates to NIS. Right? So the Guyana consulate is I know they're back and working, but apart from that they also have their numbers that persons can call and their email addresses and so on.
So I think what
Right?
the question is being asked there,
But they
ma'am.
will not lose their benefit.
Oh
No,
no,
I'm not
you're not going
asking
to lose
them
it.
to. Not at all. Not at all.
I think the question that's being asked there, you don't have to be physically present at the consulate there.
No, no, no. They have emails and they've been doing FaceTime with persons.
Okay, I hope that answers the question there. You could make contact with the consulate, and they are gonna probably do it via video conferencing or something. So you need
Right, right.
and how do the persons get the numbers for the consulate there? Where could they find it?
Okay, well, we have it posted on our Facebook page as well,
Hmm.
right? So we have it there on our Facebook page. We have the email addresses and so on.
All right, and so let's go to another thing there. So you would have, I hope that would have answered that person, Ramesh Tiwari, would have asked that question there. I hope that answered you, sir.
I have two numbers here that I can give though. So
All right,
I quickly retrieved the two numbers, the phone numbers that they can call.
all right, you could give it to them.
For the states is 212 That's the first number for the states. And 240-460-7119. That would
Mm.
be for those persons in the States. And those in Canada is 416-494-6040. Again, 416-494-6040. And the second number, 416-494-6050. We keep reposting it for those persons who are checking our Facebook page. So you can always check. We'll ensure that it's up there again at a current spot so they can see it.
Thank you very much for that. And so here is another question that somebody's asking. I'm stuck overseas. I'm going to be eligible for pension in January 2021. How can how can I apply? I can't travel back as yet.
Okay, well, they can get the forms online. All of our NIS forms are online. So they visit the NIS website, www.nis.org.gy. You click there, you go to the downloads, you look for the section that has the different benefits. You see old age. You download the form. Of course, that person will either have to authorize a person or an institution, which would be a bank, to collect the monies on behalf of him or her. So all those forms are there. So you can click to see whether you want an authorization for a person, which would be the P3A form, or whether you want the money to go to a bank, which would be the P3B form. Of course, those forms, once they're coming from overseas, usually would have to be stamped by the Guyana consulate and
Yes.
they send it through.
Uh,
I should have mentioned to you that persons who are in the Caribbean, that they don't have to go to the Guyana consulate. We're also using all of the NIS offices over there. For instance, Trinidad, Barbados, Jamaica, wherever we have NIS offices, they are also assisting us to facilitate the whole process of
we
getting the
have
life
NIS
certificate for
offices
that.
in the Caribbean in various areas.
They have national insurance offices in the Caribbean, not NIS branch, but NIS or Social Security out. Yes.
Okay, okay, okay.
And we have what is also called an agreement on Social Security. So we always have that really bilateral relationship where they do things for us and we do things for them.
I didn't
And
know
as we
that. I
talk
didn't know
about
that, but that's
health,
very good.
we have a situation where, let's say, a person worked in Guyana for, because to get a pension you need 15 years contributions. Let's say you worked 10 years only in Guyana, and then you migrated and you went to Barbados, for instance, and you worked another, what, 6 7 years there. So in both countries you don't qualify for a pension with the contributions that are required. What the agreement on Social Security allows for is for the merging of contributions. So the contributions that I paid here in Guyana and those that I paid in Barbados can be put together for me to get a pension in whichever country I choose, which of the two countries. So that agreement also exists.
So you guys, if you don't know about it, you should ask because here's a possibility, and that's a good thing about integration, huh?
Yes,
There's something that you benefit when you're a Caribbean national, and so
definitely.
you have somebody, Bud Suknandan, and here is what Bud is asking: why should NIS claims take months to process?
Hmm. Well, that could be a number of reasons, and this is the truth. And I'm happy you're raising this because we've had some claims that came in with queries, and we tried posting them. Some would return, maybe persons change addresses or whatever. But we also have a situation where we are asking persons that once they would have submitted a claim, that they make contact with us. Right? So we've been appealing to persons that once you submitted a claim that you make contact if you see a certain time pass and you're not, especially those persons who did not state a contact number, because we've been asking for the contact number so that we can contact them to say, hey, your claim has a problem and you need to bring this or you need to come in and sign it. Because people submit claims, sometimes it's not properly completed, maybe by the person or by the employer or the doctor, whoever has a role to play. So that would be definitely what we call factors affecting payments of a benefit. So it could be that the claim most likely has a query. Other than that, if the claim doesn't have a query, it's a straightforward payment.
There's many
So what
persons
we can
who.
do, especially for that. Mhm.
Right, go ahead.
No, I was saying for that particular person, it would be good if I can get the information to see what specifically. If it's a long-term claim, now, because what I mentioned there, those has to do with the short-term claims, talking about maternity benefit, injury benefit, sickness. In case of those short-term, might be some query, might be something where the employer we're not sure how they are paying, because these are all things that we have to find out. If the employer paid full salary, NIS will not pay. If they paid a partial salary, how much they paid, and these are all details that have to be stated there. The doctor's signature must be there, the doctor's registration number, for instance. We cannot pay it without that because that's a legal requirement as well now. So those are some of the things. If it's a long-term claim, it could very well be contribution issues. And that's why also we've been asking persons to ensure that they check their contributions way ahead of turning 60 years old.
Somebody, Kishore Etwaru, can contributor to NIS check his contribution online. How do they do that?
Yes, sir. Yes. You visit the same website. You click check my contributions. If it's the first time, well, then we do a registration. 4 questions we ask you: name, NIS number, your date of birth, and your mother's name, because we have that information. So we just confirm that it's you. And within 48 hours, we give you a password that you can change when you go into the system. And after that, you can check it anytime.
Very good. I think this is a question. I think sometime back there was a court case. A gentleman would have filed a court case after he says that he didn't meet all the. He was self-employed, did not meet
Mm-hmm.
the full. I think it's somebody from Diamond. Did not meet the full contribution quota that he's supposed to be doing, and then they told him
Mm-hmm.
come in and pay. And when he paid, they never give him his thing. So he took them to court and won the case. So here's a question that the person is
Mm-hmm.
asking:
Mm-hmm.
what is the decision by NIS
Mm-hmm.
regarding the withholding of full pension paid by self-employed persons who made late payments? The Chief Justice ruled that NIS must pay the pension. What is happening here?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, what I can say to you that the matters with the legal advisor, because we do have a legal advisor,
Uh huh.
and she is the person who is attending to those matters. I don't have the authority to pronounce on legal issues. And so I know of the case that you're talking about, but I know it's also engaged in the legal advice. I think up to recently, the gentleman and had a discussion with her, as far as I'm aware. So what I can do is let her know that, the question was asked here and see if I can get an update. But I know it's engaging the legal advisor's attention. And I
Absolutely.
know of those. Hmm.
And I think they were also asking here about Antigua. We keep, as I see the
Hmm.
questions coming up, I'm going to think, so we're going to be back and
That's
forth.
all right.
Antigua,
That's
does
okay.
Antigua, how does somebody living
Hmm.
in Antigua, do they have a relationship? Do we have a relationship there?
NIS, yes, they have
Yes.
the NIS office there too, so they can go in and get the life certificate done through the office.
Very good. And somebody, I'm not sure what is it that this person is asking here. I'm not too familiar, but Alicia Wahab, she's asking, what if I don't have my NIS number? I presume that this is if you're checking online.
Or if you're checking online.
I
Well, what
presume
you would
that's what
have
they're
to do is
talking.
make contact with the office to get the number. Because usually when you're checking online, it's a requirement that you must provide the NIS number. So what she would have to do is maybe do a live chat, go on the website and do a live chat instead. She will provide us with certain information. We'll confirm it's her, and then we can give her the NIS number, and then she would do the login on the to check her contributions.
Thank you very much, dear PRO. And so, if you're not joining us, this is a Wake Up Guyana show on Kaieteur Radio. And my question to you in this modern age, PRO, suppose you want to make a complaint to NIS, and the only thing that I have access to is social media, and we know that's a big tool. Could somebody, is there a Facebook page or something that we could go in and say, look, I have a problem with this? Has NIS gone and have they started something like that?
Oh, very long time ago, I proudly say.
And
We have
are they
live,
up to date?
we
So
do have a live chat. We have agents on the live chat. Once you hit the website, so you see someone, it pops up a question. How can I help you? Good afternoon. How can I help you?
and
And we chat all day.
okay,
Right now I have somebody in the room on the live chat here next to me. Not too close to be here.
okay. So
But
so that's something.
we
That's
have a Cam Street and Brickdam at this point in time.
so
Yes,
you go
that's
to
where
the
they are.
NIS website, and that is how you could be able to do it.
Be able to chat.
And it's
And you
also
can
on
ask any
Facebook.
question you have. If you have a claim, you can ask if it's available. Any question you can ask right through the
And does
live
on
chat.
Facebook as well.
Yeah, as well as on Facebook, yes.
So let me see if I get it right. I'm going to put you in the spot here. The
Mm-hmm.
NIS is there. So instead
Mm-hmm.
of calling Gildarie and so on, I like when you guys call because it means that you guys are engaged in the radio station. However,
Yes.
one of the things that you could do is go on the Facebook, NIS
And
Facebook
it
there,
is
or on the
filled,
website.
trust me.
Pardon?
They come all the time. It is a busy it is the traffic there is very heavy, I can tell you.
But are you guys managing it because you're talking about thousands and
Both
thousands
on the
of
live
persons?
chat and Facebook page.
But are you
Well, we are
managing it properly?
managing.
Meaning,
It's,
are you up to
we try
date
to
with the
access
queries?
many. We're trying to.
Uh huh.
Well, yes, with the live chat, the live chat for sure. Maybe the Facebook, we're not able to respond to everybody in the same day. We try to do it over 2 days period, depending on what it is, but at least acknowledge that we did receive and we'll get back to you. That sort of things, you know. But we're coping.
Well, I think Miss Baxter would have answered this question here a little earlier, but I'm gonna just put it back for you, and you can look back at this program afterwards too. If you've missed anything, you could look it back on Facebook. This is Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, and you could look back and you could see some of the answers. But I'm gonna ask it back to you because it's one of the many questions or one of the more popular questions that people are asking. If somebody is turning 61 next year, March, where and what process he will have to go through to apply for pension? I'm going to put it back to you for the sake of those who missed it.
Hmm. That's all right. Well, it depends on where the person is located. So
Hmm.
if the person is in Guyana, they can, if they wish to, I mean, now with COVID, you don't necessarily have to come in. You can go to the website where OLH form is there. The form for the payments to be paid into your bank account if you have a bank account. Or if you are a person, you're unable to come because of illness, so you can't walk, you're not well enough to come down to NIS to transact your own business, you can authorize somebody to do that. I'm talking about if you're overseas, the same procedure. You download the form, you either complete a form for somebody to pick it up for you or for it to go to a bank. But in the case, because it is coming from overseas, the form has to be stamped by the Guyana consulate. Now,
Hmm.
along with these forms, you would have to provide, of course, a necessary thing to verify that it is you, your birth certificate, ID card, NIS card, if you're a married woman, your marriage certificate and affidavit, any other document to support your name.
Hmm.
And
Um,
these, we don't necessarily ask for originals. We just ask for you to walk with the original if you're coming in so that we can verify. And the same thing, if you're going to the embassy, you walk with your original, they do the verification and they give you back your originals.
all right, this is coming here from Anand Gangadin, and Anand is asking, I have made, or he's stating, I've made 13 years contribution and migrated. Can I pay the remaining 2 years to meet the minimum requirements?
No, we don't allow that at this point in time. What happened? That person had two options. If he was working with somebody else, let's see, he was working with an employer after being you said he migrated.
That's what the person is saying. And Gangadian, I've made 13 years contribution and then migrated. Can I pay the remaining 2 years to meet the minimum
Prior.
requirements?
Mhm.
But I'm not sure if this
Okay, good.
person would have
Now,
met that 750.
mhm. Prior to migrating, so let's say he left Guyana, let's say he left Guyana. His last time working was 1991. Between 1991 and 1992, he could have registered, but unfortunately, that time has passed, right? Because you have to register within 1 year of your last employment. But at this point in time, we would not allow him to be registered as a self-employed person, not because we don't want to, but because the law does not permit it. Unless there is some change to that regulation, that's the only way that could be done.
Great, great. So here, if you're now joining us here on the Wake Up Guyana show, it is the PRO of the National Insurance Scheme. She's with us, Diane Baxter Lewis. I hope I got it in the right order there. And
Lois Baxter, but that's all right.
thank you very much.
Lois first and then
So,
Baxter.
thank you very much. Elizabeth Sunish is asking, and she has been with us, a very faithful listener, viewer, and she's
I know.
asking.
I think I know that name.
Yeah, she's saying.
I think I know it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's a good citizen of Guyana. Love her cricket. Former
Oh,
cop too.
yeah.
But here she's asking, I would like to know how long after you
Yeah.
saw a doctor, can you send in a claim? And I think what she's asking, how long after you saw a doctor that you could send in the claim?
Okay, well, if it's a medical care, meaning you went to the doctor, you're hypertensive, and you had to go to the doctor for a checkup, you purchase medication and so on, and there's no sick leave attached. We don't have a deadline for that. But if you're working, you're sick, and you went to the doctor gives you sick leave, you have 14 days to submit that claim to NIS. 14 days from seeing the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
After you would have seen the doctor, 14 days after you have to submit the claim.
Very good.
But if
And
it's
I
medical
presume
care, there is no time frame for that.
and I presume there's the same thing with the spectacles. If you go in and you take a spectacle, how long do you have to?
Spectacles, you don't really have a time frame for that either, because that's medical care.
Very good.
Denture is the same. Dental care, sorry, is the same. If it's maternity, you have 1 month.
And I think there's a Sati Dritzpaul, and she's saying Leonard cannot get hold of anyone in the Guyana consulate to notarize some of the documents in Canada. Nobody's answering the phone. The NIS have all my documents except, let me see. No one is answering the phone. The NIS have all my documents except the information of my representative in Guyana. I have to fill out the form, but I have to get it notarized. Can you please advise? Thank you. Also, I'd like to know if they will accept a scan copy. You got that?
Okay, well, the consulate definitely has to sign it. But what we've been doing for some persons who said they called and were unable to contact, we asked that they send the information to us, and we have been forwarding it to the consulate so that they can get back to the persons.
So you would have heard that. And so one last one before we head probably to the phone lines, because I'm sure people want to talk to you directly. And so Natram Durga, and they're saying, Gildarie, I've been questioning missing contribution that I started running to NIS since 2007 and repeat investigating and cannot get them to update the contribution. I provide them all with the requested, I guess he's saying, information from the companies. The question is, where are the monies including? Where are the monies including the company's contribution as well? That's a good one, because if the people in pain, I think NIS is not going to see it.
Okay, but usually once we get those things, I would forward it to the various section for a follow-up. So if you can get that information to me so that I can ask the chief inspector for an update on it.
Right. So there you get it. So here, let's make it very simple. You guys have options right now. The PRO is saying very, very clearly that you could go to the Facebook, NIS Facebook, and there is that option of chatting directly live with somebody, and they are going to answer your question and try to get back to you to have answers. So you don't have to pick up the phone and call and hope somebody pick up the phone at NIS. They're
What you
overwhelmed
can
there.
do for the immediate chat though is the live chat,
The immediate chat. And
right?
so,
The
so
immediate chat would be the live, yes, like the live chat somebody's on all the time. Like Facebook, I'm one of the persons who Facebook. Like no, I'm not on. You have another person too that would do Facebook. With the immediate chat, you have several persons on. So at some point in time, and quickly, it's much faster than the Facebook. The Facebook, yes, you leave and maybe tomorrow somebody, but the live chat, it's immediate. Right away, you get that response.
very good. And I know the one of the major challenge for many older folks is that a lot of them are not too computer literate and so on. So what you get to get somebody,
Technology,
because
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
find the time and get somebody to
to
assist you
do
with
it,
that if you can't. And it's the easiest way to do it
yeah.
instead of wasting money on the phone lines. Just get a computer. I mean, most folks are hooked up now with the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Anjali Lal, my husband is short of two contribution. Could you tell me what he has to do? That's one I presume you'd see this
Social
question.
provided. Yeah, we have some cases like those. Usually, what they would do, the inspectors would do the necessary investigation. We try to go back to trace, based on whatever information the insured person would have given to us, and we try to see if the person had benefits. Because if you had, let's say you had like a woman, for instance, or I'm just using a woman. Let's use a male who was probably sick a couple of times, maybe a 2 week sometime and a 3 week sometime down the road. Those give you what we call credits. So these are things that NIS would do. We would look through to see whether the person during his or her working life had what we call the benefit credits, and those can make up for the missing contributions. So that could be another one also that you can forward to us for us to look at it to see what exactly, if there's any other place that we can look to get the two additional contributions that are required.
Yes, thank you very much for that. And so, Raj, I think there's probably some callers online. So, caller, good afternoon. You on the air? Yes, caller, good
Good afternoon.
afternoon. You on the air? Hello.
Hi, good day.
Yes, good day. You on the air?
Hi, good day, Mr. Gildarie, and good day to your panel. Yes, there. I
Yes.
have one concern for the NIS staff that you have there, is that I have a letter, two letters to be exact. The first one is on the 10th of September 2018, and this was inviting me to come into NIS. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We listen.
Yes. And when I went in there, they said that they have a record there that I never pay NIS, and I have to start to pay NIS, and they backdate me from 2011 to 2018 when I went in there. But the concern is that I went to a very nice woman, Miss Bryan, and she said to me that she will have to assess me from those years to 2018. So I listened to her, and she said I have to pay into NIS 869,271,000, and this is due because of the back date. Mr. Gildarie, the advice here I want is that I don't have a problem paying this NIS, but would I get my benefits for all these years? NIS is getting the money. I don't have a problem with the interest and all the money that they say I owe them as a taxi driver. I need some guidance here, because if I'm going to pay almost $1 million, I went in there and make an agreement with her, said I will honor it. But when I listen to reading Kaieteur news, I see a gentleman take them to court, and he won the case. And I put a hold on my story, and I never went in back to Miss Bryan, and I make some payment, and I seize it there. I would like to advise way forward from here.
Thank you very much, dear sir. Ms. Lois Baxter, could
Okay, well,
you?
that's
Yes.
a similar situation like the one that you mentioned in the papers, and I think the court has already ruled on that.
Mm-hmm.
So NIS is guided by the decision of the court. right? So, but what I can do is also, like I said, it's those are legal issues, right? So I can also get some further guidance from our legal advisor, and when I come back, I'll be in a better position to answer, these sorts of questions. But usually, we are advised definitely by the way on the way forward by the court, because the court did make a decision on that matter that he made reference to that is similar to something that he would fall into. So, mhm.
All right, so somebody's asking here, I think this is a gist of it. Where can you find the NIS legal officer and his or her name? Are the public allowed to interact with the legal officer if they have an issue, or they would have to go through the channels?
They no, usually they would have to write.
They would have to write.
They
So
would
that's
have to
not a
write.
public official.
Yes,
Okay, good.
yes. It is
So,
not
so,
up. Yeah,
so you
and the addresses break down in the place.
There's another question here. Do you need to get a letter from Gaisuko, Ministry of Education, breakdown to show years of service before applying for NIS? I'm not sure if I'm
You
asking
mean
the right
before applying?
question.
They probably want to know if they have to answer before applying for the pension. That's not necessary, right? Usually on the form we ask you to state the places that you worked. That's on the application form at the back of it, and that is just to help us in the event that you have missing contributions.
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh.
we usually ask you to state the places that you work so that we can do the proper verification
Very good,
on
very
the
good.
application pension form dated there.
So thank you very much. And so if you're now joining us, this is a Wake Up Guyana show, and we have with us here the Public Relations Officer of the National Insurance Scheme. We did promise you that we're gonna bring her back, and she did promise to come back. And so here she is, and we're trying to answer the thousands of questions that are coming in because we have coming in on Facebook, we have on WhatsApp, and of course the calls which we're going into. So let's get back to the line there.
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm very much pleased to hear the program. I'm on my drawing. I'm an architect, Mr. Grant.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to know exactly. I have a question for Ms. Baxter because I'm now a pensioner. Okay, I have received. I did not qualify for the pension, the, but I received. I was able to acquire a grant.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I would like to know if I am entitled to the benefits. Right, the benefits like a spectacle and what have you, or the NIS finished with me. I'd like to know.
Thank you very much. That's the question.
Yeah,
No,
that's the
you
case.
would be eligible. You would be eligible for spectacles and dental care. You got that?
Yes, I think you would have
I
gone.
think we did.
So what the PR is saying there, you're eligible. You would be eligible. So I hope that answers the question there. And so we are gonna go to some other questions here. Hi Leonard, between 2011 and 2015, I worked with a private school. They took out NIS from my salary for all those years and never paid same. I know cause my previous employer did acknowledge that he never did and said he would have to reimburse me. He never did for all those lost years. What can you advise, or what advice can be given? I'm with another employer. I'm currently paying. So I think what this person is saying is that they work with somebody, the person never paid, and the person never reimbursed them, and so they're working with somebody else. There's some missing gaps there.
Mhm. Okay, usually in those situations, we would ask the person to provide us if they have any evidence, a pay slip, some a job letter, something to show that they worked with the person that they're claiming to have worked with. Somebody else who worked with them can give a statement, and the
Hmm.
inspectors usually would follow up on that.
Very good.
An
And so,
investigation would have to be conducted.
so if you miss those years, what are the options? I'm asking you now for somebody who might be interested. My employer, I thought he was paying me. Let me use Mr. Glenlal. I know he's not like that because we're very compliant. But Mr. Glenlal did not pay NIS, and I know that he was supposed to be paid, and I go work with somebody else. Do I have an option of maybe paying NIS to make up for those missing years? Is that an option that I have?
No, what happens that employer would have to still pay the contributions.
Let's say that the company closed, but I still
So
want to
my
reach my 750 number.
mhm. Okay, well, the only way, like I said, the only way you'll be able to continue paying is if you're voluntary,
Uh huh.
if you're a voluntary contributor, or if you go into self-employed business, you can continue to pay.
So,
So you do have the option. If you go into you can do it as a voluntary contributor, or you can pay if you have a business, you pay as a self.
I want to be very clear that I got that. Um, so I could tell
Mhm.
NIS, look, that security company that I was working with, they folded. They're no longer here. But I still want to reach my 750. I could pay NIS just to make up for those 750. I want to be very clear with that. You there?
But you wouldn't be able to go back and pay if this is what I'm getting. Going back to pay that period you're talking about.
Uh huh. Uh huh. So that's not an option.
No, we wouldn't allow you to. No, no.
Okay, good. Thank you very much. So
What
you.
we would try what we would try to do is to see if we can get information to verify that you did work
Uh huh.
with that company, and then after that it can go to the board for the board to make a decision as to whether to credit you with the contributions.
Uh-huh, very good. So there you would have had it. So do we have so that brings us because from time to time you would hear like
Yeah, that's a very real situation. That's why we've instituted the situation where persons can check their contributions online, and
right.
we've been advising persons to do it. So do it currently. Don't wait until you stop working. Whilst you're working, every 2 months, 3 months, a year, check. We've also been posting out contribution statements. A lot of those are returning because people change their addresses and they don't notify NIS. So post office go with the statements, nobody's there. We try sending it to employers. When we send it to some employers, they're docking it, people are not getting it. So we have a lot of challenges. So we send it online, you go online, check it, send us a query saying, hey, I noticed so missing, and we try to take it from there.
You
But
know
we
that,
want you to do it now. Don't wait until you're older because of the many problems that we've had with the same contribution issue in the past.
and it's a very sad thing. Imagine you working and you paying the money, they're
It
taking out
is.
the money
It
and then
is.
you're not remitting it, man. These people should be jailed. I don't know.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. Well, we take them to court, we take them to court. The thing is, that's what I'm saying. As an employee, you have to take responsibility too. You have to get involved. And what we encourage persons to come in, or you make an anonymous call because some people say they don't want to come in, they don't want nobody to know it. So you have people would call in from time to time. Sometimes even the neighbor of a business would call and say, notice some people working and there's only work so time. Y'all must check it out. They don't really be there in the day. If y'all could check it, I know y'all would think there's work night time. We have citizens, we have very good citizens who every now and then would call NIS and tell us these things. But you as the employee as well, you might be working with somebody who comes to you and say, hey, don't pay no NIS and don't pay no GRA because tax and so on about with this tax thing. It's too much money you gotta pay and so on, so on. Now, as an employer, the employer has to pay a part of your contributions. You don't pay it by yourself. That is the law.
mm-hmm,
So you
mm-hmm,
pay 14% of that 14%, you pay 5.8%. The
mm-hmm.
balance is paid by the employer. And so when that employer is saying to you, don't pay anything, it means that the employer is actually helping himself to not pay, then he got to find the money to put his portion. So he's actually helping himself. He only sound is doing nice in your favor. Apart from that, Mr. Gildarie, I like to say, when we're young and strong, we can turn the wheels of production. It's all well and good. If you get sick, you might be paid 1 month, 2 months, might be 3 months because you are a good employee. You might be paid up to a year because you're an excellent employee. But what happens after that year? The reality is, as an employer, you're sick, my business has to go on. It sounds harsh, but that is the reality. And
It
so if
is.
I'm sick and I'm unable to work, the employer will have to hire somebody else who can do the job. What happens to me if I'm not covered by Social Security? And so this is how persons have got to begin to think about their Social Security and ensure that they're covered.
Yes, and it is, and you see many cases of security companies, especially, would have been the guilty parties. I'd say the culprits, the main culprits in this. But it is important that we all pay NIS because when I see many cases of people not having a leg to stand on and dependent on $20,000 per month in old
Yeah,
age pension and have nothing to fall back on because they never paid NIS.
exactly.
And
And what
yes.
persons need to do is check every month. It's easy. You get your pay slip, you have to pay 5.6, your employer paying 8.4%. You just get your pay slip, work it out, see, look to see if NIS payment, take it, getting how much thousand time 5.6, and you work it out.
Mm-hmm.
And you see what, and then you can always check, you can always say, hey, I work with this company, they're not paying, and they have to pay the people's contribution. We take them to court. That's one of the main reasons why we hired a legal advisor, because we have several court matters that we usually have to deal with employers who are not paying people's contribution, and it is still happening in this day and time.
Yes, and Ravi Singh is asking here, which I think is what you're saying there. Does a business have an option to subscribe to NIS or is it mandatory? And I think it's mandatory,
Yeah,
right?
it's the law.
It's a law.
It is the law. You have to ready. Once you have a business, you're the owner of the business, you're on the 60, you have to register as a self-employed person.
And you have to pay
And you
something.
have employees working with you, you have to register as an employer. And as an employer, you have a responsibility to pay a portion. The law gives the employer the responsibility of deducting the contributions, but it's not just to deduct it. Deducting it is one part of the responsibility. The second part of the responsibility is to pay it over to NIS. So it's two functions. You deduct and then you pay it over, and you pay it in a timely way. You have every month, the 15th day of every month, we give a grace, a 15 days. So you have the 15th day of, for instance, September to pay for August.
And do
So
you
we
know?
say, okay, by the time you pay salaries, whatever, you have the 15th day of the next month to pay over the contribution for the previous month. So
Uh-huh.
it's not current month. It's for the previous month you pay.
Hmm. And I think
And
deodorant,
employers can be
right?
taken to court for that. It's a serious thing.
Right, right, right. And so we gotta, I guess as newspapers too, as the media people, we gotta continue looking at these things because I've been talking about it for a little while. When you see, I think
Yes.
this COVID-19 situation would have
Mhm.
really exposed some of the
A lot, yeah.
vulnerability of our people in Guyana because a
Yes.
lot of them they realize now, they don't have anything to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
A social protection or the social net has become so very, very important. It breaks your
Yeah,
heart to see, I think we need
I
some
know.
education process there. Here's a
Mm-hmm.
question here from Ganga Prasad from Leg One, and he's asking, I will be qualified for my NIS. I know you did answer this, but I will be
Mm-hmm.
qualified for my NIS in June 2021. I already made my contribution, but still paying. How early will I have to apply for my pension?
Okay, well, he can do so 3 months before turning 60.
Very good. So there you have it, Mr. Ganga Prasad. A good day to the good folks down there in Legwan, the
Hope
beautiful
you
place
stay
of
safe.
yeah, the beautiful places of Legwan, and so it's in the Esquebo area there.
Yes.
So let us go there. There's another call in line. Caller, good afternoon. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Good
I
afternoon,
would
man.
like to ask the question if this young lady could explain on your statement sheet, on that statement, when you check your statement, you see some year have 42 weeks, some year have 38 weeks, some year have 52 weeks, various numbers without a broken service. Because even if you go on leave, you would have said if you had to get paid to go on leave, you still have your
Mm-hmm.
deduction take out for NIS. You have no broken service. Could she explain how you get those short year?
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, most likely there is some query, right? There is probably some query with your name or your NIS number, because what happens, we do have a computerized system. And if, let's say, for 1 month, for instance, your employer sends in your contribution, my name is Diane and it is spelled with my
Hmm.
name is spelled with two N's. But if for one reason or the other, when they were preparing the schedule, the computer, somebody accidentally touched something and it drops an N from my name or it drops a digit from my NIS number. When we're doing the uploading, because we're using we're using electronic submission now, but doing data entry. But if it doesn't match what we have in the system, guess what? We can't post it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We don't take it for granted that the Diane Lewis Baxter with the two N's and the Diane Lewis Baxter with one N and the one digit number that is falling off, that they're the one and same person. And so it's in NIS. Once the employer paid it, it's there, but it's
Mm-hmm.
on a query. So once you get a statement like that, you know you could have worked. Usually we advise persons to come into us. And for those persons who are in Georgetown, it's Camp Street. Well, there's a little restriction now because of the COVID. I know they're still seeing persons, but I think there's a restriction in terms of how many persons they're seeing and so on. But you can make contact with them and you can provide the information and somebody can have it rectified.
Yes, and here is coming from one comment that is coming from Zaida Joaquin or Jojokin, and this is what she's saying. She said, "I appealed a benefit that was denied by NIS. I won the appeal in February 2020 and received a letter from NIS stating that I won the appeal and will receive my benefit shortly. To date, I have not received the payment.
Mhm.
Can the PRO say how long I have to wait to receive the payment?"
Okay, well, I would love to check because if she won, she should be paid, right? So I would have to, if I have her information, I'd be able to check to see what is holding up the payment.
So,
So I don't know how you would be able to furnish me with the information,
mhm.
Mr. Gildarie. If
Yes.
you can forward it, you can
Uh,
forward whatever the ones that you need to forward so they can have somebody follow up those for you.
Right. So Zaida, what you do is just go to the live chat with NIS there and attention Miss
And she can
Baxter.
provide her number, the NIS number for the person. I think she said it's survivors.
I presume that she said I appeal for a benefit that was denied by NIS. I won the appeal in February 2020 and received a letter from NIS stating that I won that appeal. I
Mhm.
received the benefit shortly. I have not received it, and so that's what they're saying. Um,
Okay, well, she would just need to provide us with the NIS number so that we can check. She can
mhm.
say she said do the live chat. I made an appeal and I won the appeal and this is my NIS number. Could you check, tell me what is the status of my case? And somebody, if she does that right now, somebody would be able to answer her right now.
Yes, thank you very much. So you heard that, Zaida, so you know what to do. And I'm not sure what's the question here. I'm going to read it out to you, and maybe there's something that the person want to know. Hi, good afternoon. I'd like to know if a person worked and paid for their contribution in excess of 35 years. What would be the result of that? I'm not sure what is the question here, but I presume if you work for
Mhm. Okay,
750.
I know what they're asking.
Okay,
I know what it is.
okay,
Because we have a minimum pension or we have a maximum pension.
sure.
Now, in order to get the maximum pension, you must have worked 35 years, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what happens after 750, which is the minimum
Yeah.
contributions required, the 15 years, after 750 contributions, every extra 50, so 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, and going right up to 1750, every extra 50 gives you 1% more on your pension. The 750 gives you 40%, that's the minimum, and it's equivalent to what's it now, Keisha? 35,000?
35 years.
$35,000. That's
Uh-huh.
her minimum pension.
Uh-huh.
So the maximum now, you would get 1,750 contributions, and that's equivalent to 60%. Now, apart from looking at the contributions and the percentage and so on, we also take into consideration your salary because you must have value. So let's say both of us have 1,750 contributions because we both work for 35 years. But I was paying because we look at your last 5 years, we take the best three and we're talking about what money we use or figure we use now to do the calculations. For my last 5 years, I was earning between what 75,000 and $100,000 for my last 5 years. For your last 5 years, you were paying on the ceiling for
Mm-hmm.
the different ceilings for the 5 years. Your pension will be higher than mine, even though we have the same amount of contributions in terms of number, same amount of years of service. But because you were paying at a higher rate than I was paying, your pension would be higher than mine. So that's how we work it.
Interesting. And this is a question coming from Leonard Gildarie to the PRO
Mm-hmm.
of NIS.
Mm-hmm.
I am leaving this country and I've made my contribution. I paid a minimum or the maximum, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to receive it month by month. Could I opt for a one off payment?
That is always asked. The only time we do the one-off payment is with the grant. And the
Uh-huh.
grant means you didn't qualify for a pension, and so we give you a lump sum.
So you can't ask
Other
for
than
that.
that, other than that, no, you have to take it month to month or year to year, or you authorize somebody to take it if you don't want it.
So that was Gildarie asking for the general public there. So I guess you guys have it. Let's.
It's a real question. A lot of persons would ask, that same question.
Yes, yes. So let's see what
Mhm.
happens. We go back to the line right now and call it good afternoon. You on the air?
Persons would ask, that same question.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Could you lower your radio volume, please, right away?
Yes, sir. Good
Thank you.
afternoon to you.
Thank you very
I
much.
have a major problem with the NIS.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Zalman Prasad. I'm calling from Leonard on the West Coast. I was working with Gaisuku Ifat Estate for 31 years. I was sent off on pre-retirement leave after I had a major surgery at 52 years. Now, attaining 60 years, I apply for my pension. Now, I got a printout with 934 contributions. And remember, I worked from 1977 to 2008. I appealed my case over 3 years now, and no one is telling me nothing concerning my case.
Good
So
question.
you the appeal against what decision? The
The
old
amount of
age or
contributions,
invalidity?
ma'am, the 31
Invalidity.
years contribution.
A 1 year? Which year?
No, not 1 year, 13 years contribution is missing from my total contributions.
Oh, oh, so you 13 years contributions are missing.
Yeah. They pay me,
Okay.
they
Do
pay
you
me
have access
pension.
to a computer that you can, or you can provide me with your NIS number?
Yeah, my
I
number
don't
is,
know how we can do it. I don't know if he has access that. Mhm.
my NIS number is
Hold on, hold
B4.
on. Don't give. Could we take it over the air, Miss
Of A.
Baxter?
Yes, take it off air, right?
All right. I'm gonna have to ask. Look, uh, how do we do this? Because could
No, you
we?
can take, I don't mind you taking it on the air.
No, no, no. I don't want you to give that over the air. I think there's some security
Because I
issues here.
wanted a contact number for him as well. I didn't want that out on air too.
All right.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do? I'm gonna take this number. Let me try to get this number off here, and I'm gonna give it to. Are you hearing me, Miss Baxter?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much, dear. So we got it. I'm going to give you the number, dear. So if you're now
Mhm.
joining us, it's a Wake Up Guyana show, and we're very fortunate to have with us here Diane Lewis Baxter, and she is no other than the public relations officer of the National Insurance Scheme. It's been very engaging here. We're trying to answer some of the big questions. NIS, lots of questions. People want to know how they could get onto NIS. If you're living overseas, what are some of the things you could do in order to make contact and to send in your life certificates and so on. We've been talking about that. You could relook at this program here and have some of the answers to those questions on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And so we are, I know that you did indicate to me 1 hour. So I'm sure I'm going to give the floor over to you, Ms. Baxter, before we go back to the line, because I think there's some other things we probably want to talk about.
Okay, well, as you know, we do have what we call an amnesty period, and this is specifically for those employers and self-employed persons who are in arrears, who owe the scheme contributions for December, and those contributions were due at January, and also those and it's running right through to persons who owed contributions up to July of this year and which were due in August. Now we have extended the amnesty period to persons and who fall within this period to ensure that you come in and utilize the amnesty period so that you wouldn't have to pay interest, right? Those persons who have existing agreements with the debt management unit, this does is not applicable to them. And so we want to encourage persons to do that. And like I said earlier, those persons who may have submitted claims to NIS but did not state that is the challenge. Claims were submitted, no contact numbers or email were stated, and so we have a challenge where some of those claims are have queries on them, and we really need to get into contact with the persons. We're trying because not I guess the whole situation, the postal system is a little slow. It's not as fast as it would normally be, and so we're trying not to have to post out all and then it takes longer than we want it to take. And so we live chat for that purpose as well.
Yes, and thank you very much for that. And so, before you go off, maybe we take one more call. But let me tell you, we're receiving some kudos for the show, Ms. Baxter. But we also are receiving some criticisms. Like, for example, one gentleman says, Ms. Baxter is asking people to do what we've been doing for years, but without resolution. I'm tired running to NIS still to be told that they're still updating. Do we have, my question to you, do we
Mhm.
see a lot of resolution or closure being brought to these cases, or there's a lot of pending cases still?
Well, I would say we have both. It depends on who is the employer, right? Because some employers, it's very challenging to get information, but then you have others that you can quickly resolve. So it depends on who's the employer and what is the information that is required. So I would say it's both ways, right? I don't know what is the specific nation who was the employer that particular person worked with, but I know we've had, and this is no thing I can probably mention this because it's public knowledge where we've had some of the security firms,
Yes.
NIS had to take them to court, and so persons are frustrated because it's taking longer than we do because we become frustrated sometimes when the people are coming and you can't help them in a way that you would want to help them. But some of these matters are in the courts, and so we have to wait until a decision is taken there as well.
Thank you very much, dear. And so,
Yeah.
hi, Mr. Gildarie. My father used to work at the estate for over 20 odd years until he was laid off. He's qualified with about 1,000 contributions. He's not worked with anyone since then, but he's been planting a farm. My question is, since his termination from the estate, he hasn't paid his NIS. Can he pay self-employment for the past years he's been working on his farm?
Mhm. Okay, well, usually just going back and paying contribution it has to be done. Usually the inspectors would have to do an investigation, right? Because as a self-employed person, the thing is once you start a business, the ideal thing is to come in and pay your contribution from the inception.
Mm-hmm.
Once that is not done, there is a procedure for that.
Mm-hmm.
And usually it's not a case where an inspector makes a decision, and more so with these cases that are going to the courts and all of that, usually it's a little ticklish thing, right? So what I would advise the person to do is to do an application. I don't know how old is he, that's another thing. I don't know how old is the person, but I would suggest that he does an application and we can take it from there and ensure that he states his NIS number and the contact number as well. But that is what I would suggest.
So there you have it. We want to say thank you very much there to Diane Lois Baxter, the Public Relations Officer of the National Insurance Scheme. Ms. Baxter, I want to ask you, I'm going to take a decision here now to open the radio for NIS. You don't have to get a special program. Let's say could we do this like every week? I don't know. Maybe you choose your day, and we could probably see if we could do it, and everybody would know that maybe on Wednesday or Thursday
Mhm. I
that Ms.
prefer
Baxter
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. So
Wednesdays because my Thursdays are really filled already.
Right. So we're going through the procedures now. So maybe if I may ask me if maybe if somebody call in and if you call in, well, maybe you don't want to give some of these numbers over the radio or so, but let's talk procedures and so on. We could probably go down and then maybe if you want to hold your own show with interaction or so, whatever. We're gonna fine tune it as we go along. But the radio is open here for NIS for you to engage the people. So let's say every Wednesday. Wednesday is good. Maybe if you want to,
Wednesday's good,
right?
yes.
And so we're gonna take it. So we're gonna have a chat. So I want to say thank you very much, dear, to Ms. Diane Lewis Baxter, the public relations officer of the National Insurance Scheme. Very interactive, and we have many people I think who would have some answers to some of the burning questions, and of course they would have been able to raise some of the frustration that we know NIS and not only NIS, many other entities like this. In which they're saying that they come in and it's a long wait sometimes, but let's see if we can bring some resolution and maybe have answers as to how the system work. So thank you very much, dear Miss Lewis Baxter, and a good day to all the good folks down at the National Insurance Scheme as well. Have a pleasant rest of the day, ma'am.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. We are so grateful for this opportunity as well. Because, like I would usually say, each radio station has their own group of people that would tune into, and Guyana is, NIS can't meet everybody. And so it's guys like you that really have to help us to meet, the entire population. And so thanks again.
Yes, thank you very much, dear, and do have a pleasant rest of the day. So we are gonna, while we say goodbye to Ms. Diane Lewis Baxter, the Public Relations Officer of the National Insurance Scheme, and we are gonna bring her back next Wednesday, same place, same time. We want to tell you that we have just about half an hour more. So we're going to open the lines and again, and we want to remind you that we have like about 5 hampers here, thanks to one of our good listeners, viewers, a good businessman, good corporate citizen. He doesn't like his name to be called, but we want you guys to send us some of those information, and we're going to make arrangement for you to pick it up from the office here. But if you know that you have gotten already, let's find some new families who find it very hard, and we want to bless you up a little. So it is as a good thing that we share in this country. We have many families who are suffering, and so we want to make sure that it reaches them. So you could send us those texts or the messages, tell us a little about your situation to 6222222, and we're gonna call you and we're gonna make arrangements for you to pick it up. 5 families. Do not be unfair. Do not, if you know you don't need it, or do not call us. Let us give it to somebody or to the families who really need it. Let's do that. Let's be, let us do the right thing. So thank you very much for joining us here on Wake Up Guyana, and it is coming to you. We are coming to you live from our Saffron Street studio here in Charleston on 99.1, 99.5 FM. You could also get us on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. Let's hit the lines again there, Raj. Good day, you're on the Kaieteur Radio. Yes, good day. You on to Kaieteur Radio?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Sorry. I called for if you could help me because I have 6 children.
Yes. Okay, good. Could you call me on 225-8491 immediately after the show here?
Just now. Just now. Call the number, let me hear.
225-8491.
225.
8491. Ask Leonard immediately after the show.
Okay, all right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So we want to bring you some of the updates when it comes to news right now. Let me see if there's any breaking news that is coming here. The joint services, what are they saying? I think they would have somebody they raided a place up in quarantine yesterday, and they would have found some guns. It looks as if somebody was doing sport hunting. 2 guns. You would have had crossbows, even an air gun. They said that they would have found there. You guys be very careful on the roadways. If you guys are seeing anything that looks as if our minibuses, our cars, or anybody, they're breaking the laws, they're not practicing, send us those pictures and let us be able to post it up if you're seeing 15 persons in a 15-seater minibus, because that's definitely against the regulations. You should only have half of that according to what the authorities are saying. If you were seated in a minibus and you see something like that, send us some photos, 6222222, so we could be able to name and shame. It's about time that we fix this country and we stop a few persons who are making us look bad, or who's holding the rest of us to ransom. We know you got to work, but the rules and regulations in this country, we have to toe the line. It's very, very simple as that. The rule of law. The rule of law. It is very, very important. So I want to say a good day to my good friend there, Dr. Yog Mahadi. How you doing, my brother? This evening we're going to be in room 592. I have absolutely no idea what he has planned for us, but it's always good. A few days back, I think it's on Monday, we would have had Nigel Darmlal, the Minister of Local Government, and he had much to say about the development of the local organs, of the NDCs, of the RDCs, the town councils, and what we could expect of some of the development reaching to the outlying communities and the new order of business. And so if you would have missed that, you need to look back at it. We need to pay attention what our politicians are saying to us, so we could be able to have a say when people come into the communities. They're fixing up the roads. They're doing stuff behind your alleyway at the back. They're digging. You need to pay attention to what they're doing. You don't want somebody just come there. The NDC is not above the law. They're working for you. They represent you. So let us make it very, very clear. Let's go back to the lines again. Yes, good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I heard you talking about rules of the country, the discipline, yes. It have a old member of the PPP, right? He is like 60-something years. And the other day they was giving out form to fill in. I don't know what for, if it's a voucher or food stuff or what. But they give the form late. There was Friday they started Bart settlement at the Freedom House and people was rushing down there. And then at my village, the next morning, Saturday, they gave form there and they want it back 11 o'clock. They gave it like mid-morning. So you had to hustle around and just get a few people and didn't get everybody. So they call in for the list and we hand it in back. Then the people hear about it and they keep coming to the person's house, say how they didn't, he didn't put down their name and how we can do things like that.
Who's sharing all this stuff? What are you putting down your name for?
Well, that is what I'm saying. We're not sure if it's a hamper or if it's a people have it. The rumor is like 50,000 sharing out or $30,000.
Oh, they're sharing out cash now? Wow.
That is what we heard. I don't know. I myself.
Well, let me tell you, be very careful with that because the government has not announced anything as yet, and I'm sure there's going to be a very transparent way.
Well, what I'm trying to tell you, this old member, he is Baldeo from Bart Settlement next to the Freedom House. Up to Sunday morning, he get people still filling up there, taking down their names, filling up forms, which in the first set of form gone down to Georgetown. And they say it would be like 3 different distribution of it. So the next, you have 2 more to come. So whose name is not on form now would be on the next one whenever they give it, right?
Uh-huh.
So I don't know why he has to do that. And then the person from this village, Lovilla, is getting the bad name already,
Well, I'm not sure, but that the government has not announced any kind of thing. I'm not sure which organization is involved with that.
You could find out. Maybe it's all over the place. Bart Settlement, Rosiknal, along the villages, it's there.
Or we're going to try to find out if they have started.
But we have I don't think Baldeo should do that.
Right. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay then, thanks.
Thank you. So I'm not aware. I'm going to try to find out if there has been a campaign started to register people for any kind of assistance. I'm not aware of that. If it has been done, it's probably individual within, as far as nationally, There has not been anything coming out from government. What we do know is that the President Irfan Ali would have announced a $4.5 billion program to assist families hard hit by COVID-19. So we are going to continue to follow that. We have not received any updates on that. We know that they're working very hard behind the scenes. I think many people are very concerned, and they would be delighted to get some kind of help. But in the meantime, what we're looking at here is 1 in every 4 tested positive for COVID-19. If you were long in Georgetown, you had to come do some business, make sure that you wear your mask. If you are in the minibus, make sure that the minibus does not have more than 7 or 8 persons in it. It's against the law. It's against the regulations. If you are have the weekend and you want to go somewhere, go into the yard and plant some garden. Do not go anywhere that you shouldn't be. Do not go to the beach. Do not go to the creek. Do not go to a rum shop. Do not do that. Our country needs you to be very level-headed and responsible at the moment. So let us be very, very clear with that. So I want to say good day to all who have joined us from the United States of America, from Canada, across the Caribbean here, and a good day, of course, to my good people in Guyana. We have so many people tuned in with us, being with us every single day. I'm back this week, and I feel as if I should not have left you last week. I'm not feeling so well either. I think I'm a little tired. I'm waiting anxiously on my my test results of the COVID-19. I keep my finger crossed, but I am confident that I am negative, but I'm still a little anxious because, you know, you could not have any symptoms and you could be there and you could have it and you could be positive. So I will keep you, I'm not afraid. This is a show in which we talk it as it is. We say the harsh truth, and we don't beat around the bush. So if you are listening to us here, it is the Wake Up Guyana show, and it's not for you to wake up in the morning. It's for you to smell the coffee, to get real. Let us get our acts together. Let us pay attention to what counts. Let us pay attention to our oil. Let us pay attention to corruption. Let us start making sure that our police officers, our politicians, everybody, they put their hands on the deck and say, let's build this country. We don't have time, and we don't have the patience right now to allow any kind of slackness when it comes to service to the country. So we go back to the line again. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air. I think we missed that one there. So it's 622-222. We want to hear some of what is bothering you today. What you think about government? What you think about this thing that has been described as a Ponzi pyramid scheme? Is it or is it not? What we could tell you is that the two persons, a man and his wife, a Cuban national who has gotten Guyana citizenship, and his wife, they're in custody. They're being investigated into an alleged Ponzi scheme. The authorities are saying more than 20 million US dollars, and this is equivalent to over $4 billion, were invested into this fund here. The man accelerated, the principles of the accelerated fund say that they were doing trading, foreign exchange trading, on the world market, and this is where the money to pay people were coming from. However, the authorities are saying that anytime you hear anything that is above 20% or so in terms of returns, run far away, because it's not right. It is an impossibility. So we are going to continue to follow the story as we get it here. Do we have a caller online? Yes, good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Mikal van Limasan.
Limasan, that's Essequibo Coast. How are you doing?
Yeah, I come from Ricefield now, you know.
You what?
I come home from Ricefield.
Okay. How is the rice going? I hear you guys have a good crop.
Yeah.
Very good. What's the price? I think it's over $4,000, right?
The rice price?
Uh-huh.
Well, so you me hear you tax at $4,000 a bag?
Barbies told me that, honest the line. They said, I think, I can't remember is how much, 44 or 45,000, I think they were getting up in Barbies. I'm not sure what you guys are getting. Well, Essequibo, maybe it's a different buyer, it's a different miller. I'm not sure.
Well, we're glad if the government can see about that. That part for Essequibo.
How much you get in?
Well, I was $2,700 bag right now. What I got up on the board.
2,700?
Yes.
That's strange. Was the crop a good one?
Well, that is me calling for tell you, but that part there, and then I mean, like my son here really need a road.
I think there were some issues. I think the government, I saw a story recently with a contract or something that they're going to fix that road there. I think they had some issues with this. I always see pictures of them fixing the road and everything. Yeah, you know, you guys, we got to pay attention when contractors are in the area. Pay attention to what they're doing. They have to deliver. They have to deliver. You tell them, let me see what you're supposed to do. If it's 2 inches and it looks as if they put an inch, you said, I'm going to pick up the phone and call the ministry or call the newspaper. I'm going to call Gildarie or somebody. You need to threaten them. That's what we need to do.
Yes.
You know, it's strange. It's very harsh that we have to be threatening people to do the work. Why is it that we have to do that?
Because the grade up to way on the road line in the grade and next portion to get the bridge, the part left. And me live down at that area there and that not happen. And the thing been in here today, up to this morning.
Right. Well, continue paying attention, but I do know that they have announced a contract for that road, or they are looking into it.
Because me born and grow inside here, me thought something here, and never like I say, Loom Road there here, and never got good properly road.
Right, and I think if you guys are living there, I think it's a big community in there now, right?
Yes, proper place, man.
All right, no. Well, the regional people. Yes.
Next issue to I will apply for a drain in the back part we live. I want a swamp and I apply for a drain. That good time already. And we asking the government if we can do it for we can get for farm at the back of where part we live.
Well, this is easy. This is a very easy one. Let me suggest to you that the Regional Democratic Council that you have there, and even the NDC if you have in the area there, you need to approach them and you need to tell them. You need to write letters. You need, I know that you're working hard, but get somebody. You must know somebody who could write a letter to them. Or you go into the office. You guys are representing me. You need to tell the chairperson. You need to tell them that I need this kind of actions in my community, and you keep following. You know what I did? You know what I did to David Patterson, the former Minister of Public Infrastructure? My road had a lot of things. I got 2 vehicles. And the cost, remember my salary is not fantastic. So it was costing me a lot in terms of tires. So what I did, I took out picture of the road, and I had the David Patterson number, and I keep sending his people pictures till they got tired. One day after the elections, I saw Poran brothers in our street, and they were fixing the road, and they said, yes, you tormented them a lot. I wasn't giving up. Every single day I'm sending pictures, and I said, please, you need to look into this. Please, you need to look into this. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, so what we want to look here with the party system that we over here, man. I'm $2,700 what they out on the board right now.
Well, I don't know what is the price, how they're doing that, but we could probably raise it. I'm going to ask my people to check into it and see whether you guys have been given a fair price or so. You know, it's difficult to control market prices, and so that is something. But let me ask. I will try to find out what it is, okay?
All right, good. Thanks.
Thank you very much, dear sir. So a good day to all the folks there in Lima Sands, Essequibo Coast, and as a matter of fact, all Essequibo there along Region 2. Pomeroon, how are you guys doing there? I know that we have many listeners there. I want to say good day to you from Kaieteur Radio, and this is the Wake Up Guyana show. We have 15 minutes or so there for program time. Let's go to the lines again. Good day, caller, you on the air? Do we have somebody on the line? Yes, good day, caller, you on the air?
Hi, good day.
Good day, ma'am.
I'm calling to ask if you could please help me with a hamper.
Yes, call me after this show here, 225-8491, and let's take it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. So if you're now joining us, let us see if there's a couple of things that we can tell you in terms of the news. Is there any more breaking news that's happened? It seems a very quiet day. What I could tell you, somebody is asking, what happens to Claremont Mingo? Claremont Mingo, who's been accused of fraud, election fraud, of coming up with figures that had no basis, that the national recount shows that this figure had no basis. According to what we hear, he still remains in custody, and he's been questioned. He was arrested in his Bari Region 5 home yesterday. This was after charges, I think, private criminal charges were filed, and they could not find him to deliver the court documents, the documents that says he has to go to court. And so they went to his home, and he's been investigated as to the alleged role that he would have played in the declarations of the March the 2nd election. There were two declarations made by Claimant Mingo, both of them struck down by the courts, and so they want to know where did he get the figure from. Claimant Mingo and his assistant, or two assistants, are said to be in custody. So we are going to continue to pay attention to that. In the meantime, I don't see any big news. You guys got to pay attention to. There is a drunken Northwest District. If you have children, and so make sure that they are very careful. Be very careful. Watch them when they're going on the road, and especially with this COVID-19, the least that you guys could be out on the road is the better. It is something we have to do. We have to, how you say it, band our belly, because this is tough time. This is not ordinary times. We have to ensure that we make the sacrifice now in which we could see the earliest that we could have this country's borders open. We want to get back to business, but if we don't, the numbers are going to rise. We passed 1,000 cases, and the last week or two has been very telling, because the increased number of tests that has been conducted by the authorities have thrown up more cases. People who didn't even know that they had it were tested positive, and so we want not to be tested positive. We want to be safe, and if you have underlying conditions, if you know that you're being irresponsible, you could kill your people around you, because some people are not going to be able to survive some of the conditions that is going to come with that. So let us be responsible. If you have children, if you have loved ones that who could be vulnerable to you picking up something, the COVID-19 testing positive, you're putting them in danger. Let us get our acts together. Let us be very strict. If you know people, we're all weak. We're human beings. If we're showing a weakness, maybe we want to take our little tips, as I say, maybe take a little beer here or there, buy it, take it home. Make sure that you wear a mask if you go into the shop to do that. But do not stay in the shop, and do not have cutters and playing pools and everybody high-fiving, peeing in the same bathroom and so on. Let us start being responsible. It is not good when we do that. There's not a big urge. There's not a big, how you say it? It should not be that we want to put ourselves at risk like that, the rest of the country. One or two persons, that's all it takes to put this entire country to where it is. So we go back to the lines again. Raj, good afternoon, caller, you on the air. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air.
Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I would like to have a hamper.
Okay, you would need to call me like after this, 225-8491, after the show here.
225?
225-8491, and let us see.
8491?
Yes, we have a limited number. I'm not sure how many left, so let's see how it goes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. So this afternoon, time wind down 10 to 3 already. Raj, we'd have to do something about increasing the time here. Unfortunately, Gildarie does not only have radio to do, we have our newspaper to run as well, and it's a lot of work there. Mr. Glenn Lal is a hard taskmaster. He pushes you, and it's a good thing. I enjoy working with him. He is very passionate about his country, and it's not because he's my boss I'm saying that. He's really opened our eyes and taught us a lot in terms of how you think as a businessman that you should run this country, because everything comes back to dollars and cents. If you're doing an oil deal, everything comes back to what you put into your pocket, to what you put into the bank account. And if we're not getting a good deal, he stands, sometimes Kaieteur Radio stands all alone, Kaieteur News stands all alone, because we take the contrary position on the oil deal, on issues when it comes to corruption. When everybody is scared to say it, Kaieteur News would have been saying it. We come up against an entire administration, and sometimes I myself am a little amazed that we could take those positions, but it is a good thing for the country, and we should all open our mouths We should all not be willing to settle for mere pittance or a mere crumbs off the table. We should be opening our mouth and say, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I deserve as a human being, as a citizen of this country. We want so much more. Let's go back to the lines again. Good afternoon, caller, you on the air. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Yes, go ahead, you're on the air.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon.
I'm calling from Laluni. I would like the authority to look into making the Laluni Road. It's getting really bad.
Laluni, this is on the Susdike Linden Highway.
Yes, it has a scrap iron place, and they have large trucks bringing the stuff, and they're breaking the road going in and out.
Is there an NDC in that area there?
It had one when the APNU was in power, but since the PPP going back, it don't have any.
No. You have to have an NDC in there. The NDC don't come out and go in just like that. They have to have an NDC in that area there. So what I would suggest that you do there is make a complaint to the NDC in that area there. You have to. If you're listening to us, the authorities, the Laluni Road, that person is complaining about the Laluni Road, and you have scrap iron. And we have businesses which are not so responsible, taking up the whole pavement, dropping the garbage and the scraps and everything all over the place. You guys got to be responsible. And for the regulators who are paying attention, there are rules and regulation and ways that you have to do things. You have to do your monitoring. You have to make site visits. And do not take money under the table. We know what goes on. Yeah, everybody knows what goes on. So, let us start paying attention. If you know the overseer of a particular NDC, we would have heard stories. We know all the stories. We know who's taking pay, who's not taking pay. You guys need to open your mouths. What are you doing? Do not allow the newspaper or the radio to be the one to do it. You need to start taking, you need to start saying it. You need to start putting it out on Facebook. You need to start writing letters to the editors. Let us start agitating for a better Guyana. We could only become better. Let us ensure that we don't break the laws. If you know you're going out and your car has a busted taillight, get it fixed. If you're going out and your car has an expired insurance, do not take it out there. You could hit somebody down and you could end up in jail. That happened to some man who decided to ride a bike, had no documents. They didn't even have a driver's license or a rider's license. And guess what? He's facing the music in the courts at the moment. He decided to beat a police officer. Totally unacceptable. Police get me upset, but I would never raise my hands on them because I would end up in jail. I like my freedom. Don't you like your freedom there, Raj? Freedom is a good thing. So we have 5 minutes more. We can probably take one more call and then we wrap up. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Yes, good afternoon. I call it for Grove.
Grove, on these bank.
I've been saying resentment for most of the flood in Guyana. People don't know it. But
Pardon?
Resentment work.
Where?
All over Guyana.
Yes.
We used to do it, but I'm going to tell you that won't happen in Grove. It's a really good thing by it. Whosoever do it so fast, they minister them, they come and work so quick. I've never seen a flood thing cover so quick.
You're talking about the coca that broke away?
Yes. We used to do all over. We used to carry wood all over. Since in 1968, we used to carry wood all in King Grove when they had a big flood of things.
Yes.
Yeah, we had family since before 2 days for Saturday. And I have never seen a flood thing cover so quick. So congratulations, brother.
Yes, I think they did. I was there. You know what surprised me the evening, because I was at home and somebody called me and said this is happening. So I came out and the traffic was building up. And when I went there, I saw like about 5 or 6 ministers was on the scene, because I think they realized that the Demerara River was high and this thing broke away and the water in the canal.
Everybody used to walk like no way. This country would have gone very far away, my brother. And I know Mr. Leonard good, very good person.
We gotta be proactive, We gotta be very serious about this thing here, this country here. This is our country,
Yes, because I'm gonna tell you something. You see, Mr. Gildarie, we had a group they going, and I'm gonna help you with a group, one of the best group, a policing group. You might not know me, but I tell you,
you got a big mouth, though, right? Mr. Lar got a big mouth.
He's a very good person.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, I tell you where we come from. We come from my grandfather's of like the train, little line and slippers, and my father, all this road and thing out there.
So he knows about things. You understand me? But that was very good. It's done so quick, boy, I gotta tell you.
Yeah. I thought I went back the next day. I went
All
back the
I-
next day, and I was impressed by the speed.
All
and the
Irish people have to work very in hand in hand. You get things done, buddy. I tell you. You understand me? I'm telling you, I love this country. This is my country. I like that overseas, but I love here more.
Yes, my
Right,
brother.
we go talk next time.
Yes,
right?
man. Take care.
Yeah, but and if I don't focus, most of them resentments ago, like the fight was loose.
Yeah.
My uncle built those things.
Yeah.
Mine was 3 last month.
Uh-huh.
All right, then, my brother.
Thank you very
God
much,
bless you.
dear. Good day to good folks down in Grove. I grew up in the Grove area there, and my backyard. I did a lot of wrong things there. Used to get away and go to the little thing they call it the Achi Duck. Used to get a lot of licks to climb all the trees there, played cricket in the streets, gamble for rubber bands and Chico paper. How many of you guys remember that? But it's coming down to it's program time now, unfortunately, and we have to say goodbye. And it has been a very good day for us. We would have had the PRO for the National Insurance Scheme and Diane Lewis Baxter and engaging you guys. You guys want to look back at some of the answers that you give to the burning questions. It's very, very simple. You go to Kaieteur Radio and you could replay it there. Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, you could replay it there. Or you go to Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. And so we would have been coming to you here from the Charlestown studio here of Kaieteur Radio and on 99.1, 99.5 FM. And so a good day to the good folks down in Barbies, Demerara, Esquibo, and wherever you join us from, United States of America, Canada, Caribbean, and of course we can't forget European Union. We have many persons there who would have been tuning in to us. And our neighbors, friends, Guyana, Suriname, Brazil, how you guys doing? And Trinidad, as well as all the way St. Lucia. You guys take care. Stay safe. Make sure that you protect yourselves. And until then, we meet again this evening at 7:30 p.m. sharp. Dr. Yog Mahadi leading the way in room 592. I'm going to be there and back. And we are going to be back here 1 o'clock p.m. sharp tomorrow to continue talking to you guys, hearing from you guys. Have a pleasant rest of the day until.